Okay, I am back with my Logic of English review part 2. And if you have not watched part one, I suggest that you go back and do that. It just kind of tells you a little bit about why I chose to do Logic of English and switching over from us using Embecca Phonics and what I have liked about it. So go back and check that out if you want to. The one with the good video is labeled part 1. I have another one that I felt like was so thorough, but for some reason I filmed it 2 or 3 times and attempted to load it onto YouTube, and the video quality never came out where you could see the picture at all. You can only hear it. So if you're like me and you like to wash the dishes, iron, that kind of thing, and just set up your phone and listen to YouTube, then it's something that you might want to go check out because I felt like it was really thorough. But you can't see the curriculum in it, so I am refilming that so that you can get a better look. But we have really loved it. We've been using it since, I believe, April of 2015, and we are now into March 2016. And we have finished Foundations A and almost finished with Foundations B. We have about 10 more lessons to be done, and I have been using it with my 2 children together, both a 1st grader and a 3rd grader, and that is not normal, but it is because we were struggling with reading. We had to start at a low level. So typically your 3rd grader would be past Foundations B, but that's just where we are because that's what he needed. So I want to show you the Doodling Dragons app, and I purchased this off of, I think I got it on Amazon, and they have it for Android devices as well as others, and I have mine on a Kindle Fire. So this is at the home page, and if your children do not know the letters, you can click on Learn.
Touch a letter to hear the sounds.
A, O, Q, U, Z.
Okay, so you get the basic idea. If they don't know their sounds, they can come on here and work on that. Back to the home page, they can play a little game. And we're going to choose the letter, whichever letter we want that they need to work on. We'll choose A.
Wash. Wash. Apple. Apple. Grapes. Grapes. Snake.
Okay, I'm going to choose the wrong thing so that you hear what happens. Okay. So you get the idea. They are sounding out the words, and then the children have to hear the sounds and be able to put them back together and choose the picture. So that really helps them to hear the individual sounds and words because really that's what you're doing when you read. You're sounding it out, and then you're having to put it all back together. So this prepares them for reading. And let's see. Go back to our home page, and you also have the Doodling Dragons book that's in here.
A, O. Apples and ants. Snakes ate grapes. Wash the walls.
Okay.
A, O.
And you can just keep going on that, but I think you get the idea. And it's going to keep going on me. Let me see if I can turn it off. All right, sorry about that. I thought it would turn off when I shut my Kindle. So that is, it has the Doodling Dragons book on the app. So, but this book came in the kit. I purchased the app separately, and as you can see, it's the exact same thing. And we did not honestly use the app or the book very often because my children already knew most of the letter sounds. And so I just didn't spend the time getting that out. I would rather read other books with him than this. But I'm not saying that it wouldn't be helpful. If I was starting out in kindergarten, I really think, especially the app, would be helpful because I think my 5-year-old, who's going to be starting next year, would find that a lot of fun and want to do that. We don't play any video games in our house other than educational apps. So we have done that on purpose because we want it to remain fun to be able to do these kind of things. And my kids all just learned all of their states, the shapes of the states, where they are on the map, with an app. Amazing. I should do a video on that. It was so easy. I had never taught them any of this stuff, and they knew it in like a week or less and were on their own getting out papers and drawing all of the states. And I was just amazed at that. But it was because the app was so much fun because they were not used to playing regular video games. So educational video games are awesome to them. And so I really think, though it seems juvenile, my 5-year-old will like that app when he gets to that. So just so you know what that was like. Not essential to the curriculum. So if you are needing to save money, do bare bones, I would say leave that out. If you have the money and you're starting out with a kindergartner, then definitely buy that app because they'll find it a lot of fun. On to our teacher's manuals. I'll show you the front. This is Foundation Speed Teacher's Manual, A and B. They're both the same. They're a nice quality hardback, which I love because we often have to take our books with us in the car. We have a long drive and a long day on Sundays when we go to church, and so sometimes I take our school books and we do that in the afternoon if we're going to be staying at church all afternoon. And my books were not holding up well, even just pulling them on and off the bookshelves every day. A lot of the teachers' books are spiral bound, and I hate that because the covers end up tearing off, and then, you have to put them in a 3-ring binder, which I don't like as much. And I really like having the hardback teacher's manuals, and they have these nice, glossy, sturdy pages that will not tear easily. I mean, yes, they can tear, but they're not going to tear easily. So I really like the quality of these books. A lot like if you have ever used Matthew C., their teachers' books are nice hardbacks like this, same size of book. However, the paper inside of these is different than the Matthew C. books. It's glossy and sturdier. So on to Foundations A Teacher's Manual. This is lesson 10 here. And if I can get my phone to focus. There we go. Here's our objectives for the day. We're learning the letter O and all the sounds that the letter O makes. And they tell us what to get out, that we need our whiteboard, our Doodling Dragons book, and our O cards, as well as foods and activities for the day that start with all the different sounds of O. Honestly, I don't hardly ever even glance at this. I just grab all my books, and literally these are so easy, so well put together. Everything is done in order that I just grab all the stuff and sit down at the table, and we are ready to start working. It doesn't take preparation like my Abeka books took so much preparation of writing on the whiteboard. And even their handwriting pages were in a different book than their letters and sounds. And everything was just kind of, I felt, strewn out, not done very well. And so this is all together. The handwriting is right in here in order with the lesson, not in a separate book. And, everything that I need to say or do is written right in here. In Abeka, often in the handwriting, I had to write it up on a whiteboard, the whole sentence, and I don't have to do that in here. It is all already on there. See, there's my O's. So we'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But the first part of the lesson is to segment words. So we have S, E, U. And I would sound that out, and the child would come over here in their book, and they would circle or point to the seal. In my case, we've been pointing because this is what we had to do. I had two children that I was working on, a first grader and a third grader, because they were behind in their phonics and not reading well at all. So I just started back from the very beginning. I felt like we didn't have a good basis from what we had done. They were reading terribly. So we just started right back at the very beginning with Logic of English. And I didn't want to order a lot of extra stuff because I didn't know if it was going to work for us. And, funds were limited, so I didn't want to order extra books. Now, so I took my student book here, both for Foundations A and B, and I already had a whole bunch of page protectors from using in the past for homeschool stuff. So it didn't cost me anything extra. I just tore out my pages and stuck them in here so that I could use them for both kids. And I didn't photocopy them or anything like that, so don't complain about that. I didn't do that. But I would call out what they were supposed to do, and then I would have them point. And then when we got over here to handwriting and stuff, the handwriting, they could use a dry erase marker right on this, the page protector, right on the page protector. But I chose to write on the whiteboard, and I'll explain why in a minute. But let me show you on the handwriting. There's all these different lines. That does not mean they have to do all of this, fill all these lines in one day. It is just to help them pick which line they can write on better. Some children do better with a really wide line. Some do better with a small line. It just depends on the child, and I have one of each. So they can pick the line that they want to do. If you want to let them do that, or if they need extra practice and you want them, you can have them fill out all the lines. But what I have done in my kit was this Logic of English whiteboard. On one side is this really huge line, which is great for starting out with a young child that doesn't have very good fine motor skills yet. And so having a great big board, and also a dry erase marker glides so easily. It doesn't drag on the paper like a pencil would. So writing with markers is actually very helpful in teaching them how to write. So we just did that, and that way we were able to share our book. So if you're seeing this and going, why is this the way the book comes? No, it does not come like this. It comes in like A and B, just like this, like the teachers, except for it is not hardback for the students because that's consumable, so that would be pointless to make it hardback. But that's what they've done. But they have a PDF format that you can order, and they give you permission to make all the copies that you need to for your entire family. You cannot share it outside of your family, but just within your own family. So that makes it very affordable. I really like that they do that. I apologize for that. So I really like that that they have a PDF format. And when we order for next year, I'm going to order Foundation C and D, and I'm going to probably order the PDF format because it would be so much more economical. I can use it for the children that I have after this. So I have 8 children. I only have 4 in school right now. So yeah, I've got 4 more to go. And so I love that they offer that. I feel that just shows their integrity as a company, because so often with Abeka, they would switch out their books like every so many years, and literally they would just swap where a page was in the book, or maybe take out one sentence or put one sentence extra in, just so that they could have a new edition. And so then all of my teachers' books would not work when I went to buy the student copy. And so you had to buy new everything. And that was so frustrating when you have a big family and just don't have the money for that. So I love that they are offering this in a PDF format, and I can continue using this for my entire family. And that's just like, wow, I can't believe that. That's awesome. And what I have right now that I use in homeschool a lot is a Brother printer, and it's very economical. I should do a video on that because it saves so much money. I can print literally hundreds and hundreds of pages for about $5 in ink because I refill the ink myself. You can buy refill kits on Amazon. There's YouTube videos showing you how to refill it and reset it so everything works properly, and I have had no problem with that. It's been awesome. Now my printer is black and white, so depending on how much a color laser printer is, I may just end up buying the student books rather than doing the PDF. So that's something to consider too, is that if you're ordering PDF, you want it to have all these great colors that the book has. I mean, all these pictures, it wouldn't be nearly as fun in black and white, though. Yes, you could do it in black and white, but I would like for it to be in color for them. So I'm going to see how much it costs to get a color laser printer because I didn't pay much more than $100 and some for my black and white. And so, yeah, I have paid for that easily with the use that I have put on it and the money that I have saved in ink because my Canon printer drunk ink. But okay, back to this. I'm sorry, I got off on a rabbit trail. So also in lesson 10, we have matching phonograms. So if you watched my first video, you know how I talked about really worrying that my kids would not be able to do the cursive or that they wouldn't read the print correctly. It's not a problem, so don't let that worry you because she's constantly showing them book face or manuscript font and as well as the cursive that you're teaching them. So here we're going to be matching up the book face or manuscript with the cursive. And so that just kind of reinforces both. My kids have not even asked me any questions about why is this like this. It's just easy. This is the pretty way we write, and this is what you're going to see it in books. And they are so similar anyway that most kids don't have too much trouble noticing it in any way. But my son had terrible handwriting in manuscript. And his handwriting in cursive is absolutely beautiful because they go through it step by step, teaching them the shapes that they make. I'll show you this. They have cursive tactile cards. If you have the kinesthetic learner, it starts out with just teaching strokes because it's all the different strokes that make up the cursive letters. Let me get to the letters though. Here we go. Here we have a D. And so this, I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see it in a video. Is a sandpaper-like texture. So they can come on here and trace the order in which you go. And for some reason, that just really helps them to cement it in their mind and remember. And on the back, to help you, it has all the sounds that this letter makes and has it in a word and tells you how, if you want to call it out to your child as they're writing, so that they're not constantly taking their eyes away from the page or the marker board. Curve up to the midline, roll back around to the baseline, swing tall to the top line, and slide down to the baseline. So they have the instructions for each letter on the back, so you can even call it out as you go, and that's really helpful. So they have not had any problem doing this. They have beautiful handwriting with this. I am amazed and happy, and to be honest with you, I should go through this myself because I have terrible handwriting. But I don't know if I showed you on this book how they have, on this marker board that we use for our handwriting, they have the white side, and on the back, they have, these are all the same size, but there's 4 different lines with a darker line for the baseline so that they know where to start. And then you've got your top line, you've got your dotted line in the middle to help them to properly, to make the proper proportions, I should say, of the letters. So we love this. If you have a couple kids, I would buy extra. We took turns, but it would have been easier with extra. So yeah, on the lesson plans, they have teacher tips shown throughout with all kinds of great ideas. In this one, you're going to walk a tightrope while you say your phonograms. Things like that just make them feel like they're playing a game. It's so much fun. I'll focus. That way, if you want to pause it and read what she has to say, feel free to do that. Here's all the words you're calling out. And then over here, how to work on their handwriting. And in the teacher's book, they have both the cursive and the manuscript, how to do that. Now, I have the cursive curriculum technically, so that in the child's book, they have cursive. But if you needed to work on manuscript, she has the directions right here for all the letters to call out to them. If that's something that you want to work on, you actually could, because the teacher's book is either or. So that's all for lesson 10. Very simple. It doesn't take much time. Some lessons are longer than others, but then every 5 lessons we have a review so that we're not forgetting what we've previously learned. And review day is mostly just filled with all kinds of games. Phonogram slap. You're going to lay out the phonograms, then you're going to call it out, and they can slap it with their hands when they know it. Or you can make it even more fun and have them use a fly swatter and slap it with a fly swatter, which is just crazy fun for silly ADD kids. Maybe all kids, I don't know, but mine really like it. So everything is just so well laid out and just easy. If there's a game, it's right here telling you what to do. It's not like other teacher curriculums where it says, oh, turn to appendix, whatever, and play this game, and you need to draw your own carrots and rabbits and cut them out, and then the kids play the game with that. No, it's all here. Whatever you need to play the game with is going to be here, unless you choose to do something like slapping it with a fly swatter. You'll need your own fly swatter for that, but everything is here, making it just so user-friendly. For example, here's another game. The game board, it's here. You don't have to make it. It's here. You've got blends and stuff that they can read, and often when she has a word, they will, I should have cut these out, but like I said, since I was using it for 2 kids, we came up with other little ways to play games and make it fun. But you would cut these out, have them read it if they get it right. Some of the things they occasionally do is have them crumple it up and toss it in a basket. So you're playing basketball with the ones you've gotten correct, and the ones that you've missed, you'll cycle back through until you get them correct. And so it gives them good practice, and again, they just feel like they're playing. So lots of fun. Already by lesson 33, we're reading words. And come over here, and she has scattered throughout high frequency words. Shows in the back there, and you can cut these out too and do the same thing. I don't want to cut out my high frequency words and mess them up unless I photocopied it first, because I want them to go back over these constantly. Because they're high frequency, I feel like it's something that they need to do often. I apologize. I'm trying to get this thing to focus, and it's not doing very well. So I'll just finicky cameras. All right, so here the coin drops in the bank. They're going to read that, and then they're going to find a picture that matches. They do a lot of that kind of thing. Here we have phonogram bingo. That's a lot of fun. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but I had my 5th grader come in and say, Theophonics is so fun. I wish I'd done that. They play all kinds of games. Can I do it with them? And of course, I couldn't let him, unfortunately, because I knew that he would already know all the answers, and then they wouldn't be learning anything. But absolutely, if, when you're done with the lesson, if you want to include older ones who find this fun, why not? It just reinforces their spelling, makes it better. But they have loved this because of all the games scattered throughout. Here is something that's often done where I'm going to call out, for example, I might say "w," and they're supposed to circle the "w" that they see in the first line, or the 3-letter I, or 2-letter A, or it might be on here. She would probably say A that may be used at the end of English words, or the A that may not be used at the end of English words. And that's something that I also was never taught in phonics, that English words do not end in I, U, V, or J. She teaches that. That helps so much, because then oh, that's why I can't use this A in the middle, or I can't use this A at the end. So that the rules that she teaches are so helpful. And speaking of rules, I keep in the front of my big 3-ring binder here all of these little charts that came with it. Here's a spelling analysis quick reference chart, which is just kind of how you should get used to calling out spelling words. Again, not something you're going to use all the time, definitely. But maybe in the beginning, as you're getting used to a new method of doing it, you want to say the word, tell it in a sentence, ask how many syllables, count your syllables, and then you divide your word into syllables as you're calling it out for them to maybe write on the paper or the whiteboard. The reason is, if you can learn to spell by syllable, it helps so much, because there are some words and they make no sense to you if you don't know these things about that. They're spelled a certain way because maybe the vowel came at the end of a syllable and that kind of thing. So it really helps to learn to spell by syllables. And my mom taught me that, even though I don't think Rebecca did that, and I was homeschooled with Rebecca. But I think that's why I don't have trouble with spelling, because I learned by syllables. So I love that she does that. Also, one of the things that she does that I don't think I mentioned in the last video, in teaching the syllables, Rebecca taught to clap the syllables. It never worked for my kids. They would clap like crazy and it made no sense. But she teaches, if you want to separate the syllables, close your mouth and hum the word. So if I was humming the word logic, you just naturally separate the beats at the syllables. And so it really helps them to hear how many syllables. And it seems so simple, but it's just one of those things. Well, that makes it a whole lot easier. Now we don't struggle when I ask them how many syllables are in that word, where we used to struggle all the time. She teaches why a vowel is a vowel, and I never knew that, because a vowel does not have anything blocking its sound. A consonant has something blocking its sound, like your teeth, your tongue, your lips, whereas a vowel is said with an open mouth, and you could sing it. I won't torture you with that, but you can sing a vowel. Y is sometimes a vowel. When is it a vowel? When it says I or E, because you can sing that, but you cannot sing a Y. You just can't sustain that note if you tried to sing Y. So those are helpful tips too for a child when they say, oh, I forgot, is that a vowel or not? The most helpful thing we found for remembering the vowels is leapfrog videos, though. They're A-E-I-O-U. And I'm not going to sing that for you either, but trust me, it will help you remember the vowels if you have problems and you want to learn. You could probably even YouTube that. I bet somebody's put that song on there. There's a cursive chart, the rhythm of handwriting. They have the lowercase letters. And you can't read it because my phone. With the way to call it out, how to write it. So if you're calling it out for the child, so they don't have to look up for the paper, you've got it in the cursive tactile cards. You also have it on the rhythm of handwriting chart, and they have lowercase as well as uppercase, and all the different strokes that make up the letters. So, and little tips with steps to teaching handwriting. May be useful to you. I honestly didn't use that part that much, just because we went over it so much in our lesson that I didn't need that much. If you were doing it apart from a lesson just for practice, though, that might be really helpful. I love this, though, the phonogram and spelling rule quick reference charts. If you're going to buy one chart and not buy the whole kit, at least buy this one, because it has all these rules that you will forget. And I found so often in doing my other phonics curriculum that we would come to a rule and I felt like I needed to go write it down and keep a page somewhere with the rules. But sure enough, some child would color on my page or crinkle it up, and I wouldn't have it anymore. And then I would forget, which rules have I taught them, which ones have I not yet. When you're teaching so many children, it's easy to forget where you were. So I love that all the rules are on here. So if we even get to a word, sometimes it has happened with my older children, and they say, well, how come it's done this way? I can come back here and probably find the rule for why it's done that way. This is how to add a suffix to a word. The silent final E, why that's there. One vowel and one consonant word, single vowel. So a lot of this in the front was suffixes. Then we have all the phonograms, how to say them, words that they're used in, and where the root came from. Like AY is French. So that's kind of nice. We have the multi-letter phonograms. Phonograms with limited usage. So that's really neat because then you could just kind of teach them some of these words on here since they are more limited so that they learn the differences there. Sound to spelling reference chart. Phonograms, more phonograms with limited usage. We've got single letters, the phonograms with limited usage again. And on the back, here's all our spelling rules. So this is the part I love. Consonant rules. We got vowel rules, silent final E rules, more spelling rules, suffixing rules. So I love this chart. Definitely buy that. You should buy that. You should buy that even if you're not going to use Logic of English because it's that helpful. Oh, yes. And here I wanted to show you the reader. This is Reader 2. I love their readers because they teach the kids how to really read rather than guessing with pictures. Front has a picture, but in here, this is what the pages look like. I know that seems boring. It's not. They have to read this, and then they get to come up here, and we have pictures that we cut out. That they come with the book, the pictures do, so that, you're not going somewhere else and having to find pictures of a dog or a cat. And they get to pick, like, tag on cat. Once they read that, they're going to find this picture. Oh, look, there's a tag on the cat. Or dog and wig. So my kids love this. They thought these pictures were hilarious, and sometimes they are. And so they really had fun with that. And this way they weren't guessing at what they were reading. They were actually reading it, and kind of a reward for it was putting together this book. And if you're not using it for more than one child, you're supposed to glue the picture in so that they have a book that they can reread. But I wanted both of my children to be able to do this, and so we didn't glue it in because then the second one wouldn't have been able to. So that's how the readers work. Love those two. And then also I keep all my flashcards and little game tiles and stuff that came with my kit in this little Sterilite container with a lid. So like I said, when I'm ready to do phonics, I just go grab this big book, grab my teacher's book in this box, and we're ready to do it. I don't have any preparation time involved in this. It is that easy to just pick up and go, which is exactly what I was looking for with 8 kids. But I'll show you this in case you want to buy the same box as I have so you can see the measurements. This worked perfectly. I tried some of the smaller boxes because I wanted more of like a index card box. I thought maybe one that would hold big index cards would work, but it doesn't. These flashcards are a little bit too big for that. These are the flashcards that come with it. They have both the single letter, which we have all those in here, as well as the multi-letter phonograms. And what I do is I just, as I have taught them a letter or a phonogram, multi-letter phonogram, I rubber band it together. And that way, every once in a while, I pull these out, and whether she tells me to in the book or not, I go through and call them all out. Or I don't call them out, I hold them up and have the child tell me what the sound makes. So, yeah, I love these flashcards. They're nice, high quality, glossy on both sides, nice thick card. But on the back, so when I'm holding this up for my child to see this aw sound, I have what it is on the back here. And even a little teaching tip so you know when to use it. 2-letter aw that may be used at the end of English words. Because we also have the 2-letter aw that may not be used at the end of English words, which if you listen to what I said earlier, you could probably guess it's AU, because that is a U, and English words do not end in I, U, V, or J. So she teaches those things so that when a child gets to a word like saw, they're not going, oh, do I use AW or AU? They know because they have gone over these flashcards so many times, and they know that this one may be used at the end of English words, but AU may not. So I love that all the sounds that it makes are on there. So we've got and af on this one, used only at the end of a base word or before a T. So there's all those little tips. And honestly, it seems like a lot, but if you just go over that each day, you've said it so many times, it just starts to stick and they know. We had a little bit of trouble the other day with OUGH. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but OUGH has 6 sounds. And so I was trying to teach that to them. We would say it over and over. They just weren't getting it. And in the book, she said to march around the room saying the sounds. And I thought, that is so silly. I feel stupid. But since they weren't getting it, I swallowed my pride and I marched around the room with them and we said all the sounds of OUGH. And the next day, my daughter comes running in and says, I still remember what it says. And she said all 6 sounds. And she read many, many words immediately, right away when she had just learned this sound. So there's things like that, tips that she puts in there that really help you if you have a child that is a mover or shaker, ADD child or not, but just a very active child that thinks that way. It's a fun way for them to learn. And so they had so much fun doing that. And they still remember what the sound makes because we marched around the room saying it. That movement, I've heard that being said sometimes as I've read books and tried to find out what I could do to help my children that are ADD. And one of the things they say is movement, movement. Let them study their spelling on the trampoline. Why can't they say their math facts while jumping? 4 plus 4 is 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. And it's a whole lot better for them. They remember it when they're moving. And I don't know why, but they do. I'm not that way. I would rather just sit down and do it. But for them, that really helps. So then these are all our phonogram game tiles. We're going to use these for playing with so that they can try to make their own words. There's games that she actually lays out in the book where you use these. We use these on the bingo. So they're all right there. And I keep them in a little baggie so they're not going everywhere. And these two, I forgot why I separated. Oh, I know. I separated these because I wanted the single letters, and then these are the multi-letter phonograms. So I separated them out just for me not to go crazy looking for letters. So that's all the curriculum. Oh, these are the also game cards. You can play Go Fish and stuff like that. And again, helps you with both cursive and manuscript because here's this whole stack is the cursive cards of the single letter phonograms as well as multi-letter. And then this is the manuscript. So they are learning both. We'll often play Go Fish with that, and they can match the cursive and the manuscript with that as well. And my son really loves Go Fish. So I hope you will check this curriculum out and give them a try. I really have loved it. And at first, I had my doubts, but I stuck with it. And I'm so glad that I did because now I'm seeing that they're much, much better spellers than my others were at this point. They're reading really well and they're not frustrated with it. They really like this. So I have been very happy with it. I think you will too. I can't imagine someone not being happy with this curriculum. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to try and answer. And you can find a lot of videos from Logic of English themselves. They have their own YouTube channel. And there's so much good stuff there to watch. So if you're questioning this, I really recommend that you go and listen to Denise Ide, the creator of this. She has some seminars that she does, and I learned stuff that I didn't even know about our English language that just made it make sense when you hear what she has to say. So I recommend you go check those out. Look on their website, and of course I'm glad to answer any questions that you have, and I hope it'll help you too like it has us. Stay tuned to my channel if you want to subscribe so that you can get more reviews. My channel is not just reviews. I'm planning on adding some other things as well, but because I have looked, I always look for reviews before I order a curriculum, and I didn't find one that I felt was thorough enough before I got this. And so I just want to put this out there for people like me who, or maybe even there was a thorough video, but they want to see several people say that it's good before they invest that kind of money in a brand new curriculum. But it is worth it. It is definitely worth it, and especially since they have PDFs so that you can use for multiple children. But my upcoming videos that I have definitely planned, I have Institute for Excellence in Writing curriculum, a lot of different curriculum with them that I'm going to review. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks.